Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? Anybody else sat with a heated blanket on because it's freezing? Today I want to talk to you about a concept that is kind of at the root of lots of tapping, which is called the Palace of Possibility. And it's just a really helpful way of trying to help you understand what's going on for you. So what it is, I want you to imagine when you're born, you don't know anything about anything. You are completely open minded, and you have what is called the Palace of Possibility. So essentially what that means is you live somewhere where anything is possible. Anything in the whole wide world. It's a palace. Literally anything could happen. And so you're like, oh yes, I am great at this. Oh, I can be a ballerina, or I will be a unicorn. Life is just one huge big possibility. And as you go through life, more people talk to you about the things that, well, actually, you can't do that. And so what they do is they say, well, it's not possible to do this, it's not possible to do that. Actually, you can't go in that room, or I'm just going to close the door to that section. So actually, what actually ends up happening is that voice that you hear from society, the patriarchy, family members, school friends, dance teachers, bosses, everybody and anybody, they start closing the doors. So you end up living in a little tiny part of that palace that was once this huge, big, expansive possibility. And it's really normal because you end up taking what they say to be absolutely true. And it is only when you start questioning that, whether actually really is that true, or is that just something that somebody told me, or what somebody once inferred, or when something happened which made you believe the opposite. Really, really normal. This is just the way that society exists. But it is really possible to change it once you start hearing it. So if you have something that you want to change, let's just say, for example, so we're talking about Christmas, aren't we? It being December. This is just the way we do things at Christmas. Somebody has to be with Dad. Somebody has to go see Marjorie Sue. Somebody has to host all this stuff, because that's the way we do it. And that's the way it is. I have a few friends who have to see family members that they don't ever spend time with, but that's what they have to do at Christmas. Oh, I think my thing's just going to fall. Just going to move that there. And that narrative that lives in your head becomes real. It's true. It's 100% true. And it is only when you start thinking, what would happen if that was different? What if I could, instead of packing the whole house up and moving to my stepmom's on the 23rd and having to stay there for a week, what if we didn't do that? What if we did something slightly different? Initially, you might be like, no, it's not possible. We go back to our little tower, our little room, which is safe, and we know what's going on and we know what we're doing. However, if we start opening that door just a tiny bit, maybe that's possible. It opens up a whole new room for you to exist in. And this might be a little bit arbitrary, so I hope you're going with it. When you find that voice in your head and someone said, no, it is not possible to have Christmas on your own, just as an example, we then start picking, well, whose voice is that? Whose opinion is that actually? Is it mine, or does that not belong to me? So it's so fascinating when you start hearing this stuff. You can't stop. So you can catch it and go, oh, that's not actually what I think. That's just what I've been told. And then the next step on from that, once you've caught it, is that okay for me anymore? Is that still okay for me? Or do I want to change that? This spills into everything. This spills into literally every decision, every thought that you've ever had in your whole life, to the point where it could be, I can't leave my job because I'll never get another one that's that well paid. It feels so true. But who actually said that it's not possible to get another one well paid? Was it your boss? Was it your well-meaning family member who's had the same job since they were 18? Is it true, or is that just what they think? It's why people don't leave jobs, it's why people don't leave partners. Sometimes. I can't lose weight because this is the way I look. All my family is like this. Okay. What if that doesn't feel right anymore? What if you wanted to see what's on the other side of this place? What if you wanted to open those doors and go, actually, what's inside there? You might not like it. You might go, okay, fine. I don't have to stay in here. I can go back. But it just opens it up. So when you think, actually, I don't know if this is okay for me anymore. I actually don't know if it's okay for me to host Christmas again for the 9 millionth time, even though Granny has got nowhere to go. Even though Auntie Mary always looks forward to coming to stay, or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know what your family situation is like. What if we always do stockings and this year you're like, do we? What if we don't? What if we don't? What would actually happen? You get to decide whether you get to change it or not. So start questioning what goes on in here. Just start questioning it, because you spend most of your time in there. It's the place where you have the most conversations. So why not see if you can figure out if that is a really nice place to be? Actually, I don't really like the way that feels. I'm going to shift that a little bit. And then, what do? You know, the answer is we tap. And it looks like this. So, whatever the thought is in your head that you're kind of ready to shift, it looks like, even though I've been believing this, I'm open to the possibility of changing. Not saying you're going to change. The work I do is really teeny tiny incremental maneuvers which feel tiny, but they have the huge results where actually you're in a completely different place, even though it's been tiny. Even though, tap behind your hand, even though I've been believing this, and it feels so true. I'm wondering if it's possible to change. Even though I've been believing this for this long, years, months, I'm just wondering if it's possible for me to change. And even though this is the way it's always been, and who am I to make a big change, I'm going to send myself some love anyway. Okay, tapping on your eyebrow. This is what I've been believing. Side of the eye, and I'm going to send myself some love about that. Under the eye. And I have been believing this under the nose, but I'm just wondering if that even is what I think. Under the lip. I'm just wondering if that even is my thought. Collarbone. Wondering who that actually belongs to. Under the arm. I'm just wondering who this belongs to. Does it belong to me? Top of the head. What if I release it and let it go? Okay, take a breath in. I had a client earlier this week, and she's been in a situation for a really long time and has never been able to consciously think her way out of it, because there were lots of reasons to stay there, even though she wanted to change it. Loads of reasons to change it, to stay, even though it didn't feel good. So we just questioned, what is the thought that's holding you there? What is that? And there was a lot in there about, this is just what we do. This is just what my family is like. And gently, we get to say, well, actually, is that still okay? Is that still okay for you? Or do you want to see if you can maneuver it just the tiniest bit? Just the tiniest bit. What would that be like? It's a big relief. It means you've not made like enormous maneuvers, but just that tiny thought, that tiny switch has opened up a whole new possibility for her. So I want you to think about the palace of possibility today and where you have got yourself boxed, where you've got yourself caught up in Rapunzel's tower, but there's actually nobody else there's no one in the other rooms. There's nobody actually down there. It's just what you think. And our brains are liars. And they try and keep us safe. So maybe they think the tower might be the safest place for us. But maybe we could consider we could open a little door. So I'd like you to think about where that would work. What would that look like for you in your personal circumstances, in your personal life? How would this look for you? What could you shift? What tiny maneuver could you make that might just open? Maybe it's a trapdoor into, oh my God, not actually stuck after all. Let me know if that's helpful. If you want me to do more, if you want me to help you with this, let me know. I do one-to-one work and I do my Radiance program, which is starting in January. It's going to cover all this stuff. Let me know what you think and I will see you tomorrow.